They built this world to keep you busy chasing nothing, to make you scroll, consume, obey, and call it freedom. They gave you comfort to make you weak, entertainment to make you numb, and pleasure to keep you silent. Every sound, every image, every notification is a leash. They don't need guards to control you. They just need your attention. You think you're choosing. You're not. You're reacting. Every click, every craving, designed to keep you from yourself. Machiavelli understood the oldest truth of power. He who controls attention controls the soul. And right now, they own yours. So before you scroll again, ask yourself, are you the master of your mind or the slave of their system? If you're done being controlled, comment below, "My focus is my rebellion." Power today doesn't come from thrones or armies. It comes from attention. The man who controls what you look at controls what you become. That's why this world is engineered to fracture your focus. Every noise, every trend, every headline, a weapon aimed at your mind. Distraction is the new form of obedience. They no longer need to silence you. They just need to keep you entertained. You think you're free because you can choose what to watch, what to buy, what to post. But those choices were placed in front of you. The illusion of control keeps you docile while your will quietly erodes. You've been trained to confuse motion with progress, pleasure with peace. Your mind is flooded, your instincts dulled, your silence stolen. And yet, this is the perfect design. A society where everyone is busy but no one is becoming. Machiavelli understood this truth long before the algorithm did. To rule a man, you don't need to cage his body. You only need to capture his focus. Make him chase validation instead of victory. Make him seek comfort instead of clarity. And he will kneel willingly. But here's where the powerful separate themselves. They turn isolation into a weapon. They use silence as strategy. They focus so ruthlessly that the noise breaks before they do. Because the moment your attention returns to your control, the spell collapses. You stop being a pawn and you start becoming the player. Remember this, in a world built to scatter your mind, concentration is rebellion. Withdraw from the circus. Rebuild your focus like a fortress, calm, cold, impenetrable. Because the man who masters his attention masters the world. If you understand this, comment below, "My focus is my fortress." The most effective form of control is the one that feels like freedom. When the cage looks like comfort, no one tries to escape. That's the brilliance of modern power. It doesn't demand obedience, it seduces it. Every system that surrounds you, media, technology, entertainment, isn't random. It's engineered. They've studied your instincts, your impulses, your fears. They know exactly what triggers to pull, what words to show, what pleasure to feed. And every time you react, they tighten their grip, invisibly. Machiavelli once wrote that men are driven by necessity or desire. They've learned to weaponize both. They make you need distraction. They make you desire weakness. You think you're escaping reality, but you're being molded by it. Each scroll trains your brain to crave stimulation, not satisfaction. And a man addicted to noise will never hear the sound of his own power. That's the new warfare. Psychological, silent, sophisticated. They no longer conquer land. They conquer attention. They no longer enslave the body. They enslave the will. And the weapon is pleasure, disguised as choice. But understand this, every weapon can be reversed. The same systems that weaken most men can sharpen you if you use them with intent. Where others scroll mindlessly, you study. Where others react, you observe. That's the difference between a pawn and a strategist. Detach from the illusion. Observe how they move you. Every time you resist the urge to react, you reclaim territory inside your own mind. That's how rulers are built, not in noise, but in awareness. If you see the game now, comment below, "I master the weapon." The death of a man doesn't always come with blood. Sometimes it comes quietly, through distraction, indulgence, and wasted attention. He doesn't collapse in battle. He dissolves in comfort. That's how empires fall now. not by invasion, but by notification. Focus was once the weapon of kings, the generals, the conquerors, the thinkers. They all shared one trait: obsession. They could lock their minds on a single idea until the world bent around it. That's how power is built. Through concentration so deep, it becomes a force of nature. But today, the average man can't focus for 10 seconds without checking his phone. His mind isn't his own anymore. It's public property. Machiavelli said it clearly: the crowd is easy to rule because it cannot think alone. And that's what we've become, a crowd of distracted individuals, people who crave stimulation but fear stillness, men who seek meaning but run from silence. When you cannot sit alone with your own thoughts, you've already surrendered. The world has taught you to scatter yourself thin, multitask, scroll, consume, react, and in that chaos, your potential dies. The man who cannot control his focus will always serve the one who can, because power follows attention like a shadow. Wherever your focus goes, your future grows. But here's the resurrection. When you train your mind to hold focus, you resurrect your power. When you eliminate distraction, you expose the weakness of others. Because the modern man's greatest rebellion is stillness. To think deeply in a shallow world, to move slowly in a frantic one, to stay calm when everyone else is begging to be seen. That's what makes you dangerous again. If you understand this truth, comment below. I kill distraction before it kills me. There's a war happening right now, and it's not fought with weapons. It's fought with thoughts. Every second, something is trying to invade your mind, an ad, a belief, a fear, a lie. And if you're not defending your mind, someone else is programming it. You were born into psychological warfare. The battlefield isn't the streets, it's your screen. The soldiers aren't men. They're algorithms, words, images, ideologies. Every headline, every trend, every dopamine hit, it's not random. It's strategy. Machiavelli would call this the new prince, the system that rules not by decree, but by design. It doesn't punish rebellion, it prevents it. It doesn't silence you. It distracts you until you silence yourself. And the cost of losing this war isn't death, it's mediocrity, a slow, quiet decay of everything that once made you powerful. Most men have already surrendered, their minds occupied, their time rented out, their focus sold to the highest bidder. They live like open books, rewritten daily by whatever feeds their impulses, and they call it living. But the rare few, the ones who see through the illusion, they fight differently. They guard their attention like a fortress. They choose what enters their mind with surgical control. They understand that focus is not peace, it's war. And discipline is the armor that keeps the poison out. You don't win this war by force. You win it by awareness, by reclaiming the throne inside your own head, by refusing to let the world dictate what you think, feel, or fear. Because once your mind is yours again, you become untouchable. And in a world built to manipulate you, that's the highest form of power. If you're ready to fight for that power, comment below. My mind is my kingdom. Focus is not a gift. It's a weapon, and like any weapon, most people are too weak to wield it. They chase motivation, not mastery. They confuse discipline with suffering and silence with boredom. But the truth is simple. Power belongs to those who can stay still while the world burns for their attention. Ruthless focus isn't about shutting out the world. It's about controlling what enters. It's the ability to decide what deserves your energy and what dies outside your walls. You stop reacting. You start observing. You move from noise to strategy, from chaos to control. Machiavelli wrote that a man who cannot command himself cannot command others. That's the heart of it. If you can't rule your attention, you'll never rule your reality. Every distraction is a thief, every impulse a test. Most fail because they're addicted to stimulation, slaves begging for entertainment. They fear silence because silence exposes how little control they truly have. The powerful, they crave it. They weaponize solitude. They use stillness as strategy, a place where thoughts sharpen and emotions obey. They don't chase what's loud. They cultivate what's lasting. And when they move with precision, not reaction. That's ruthless focus, the art of holding your energy until the exact moment it must strike. Every word, every action calculated, every step intentional. This is how empires are built, not by emotion, but by clarity. So train your mind to serve you, not the world. Protect your time like a crown, your focus like a blade, because the man who can control his attention doesn't just survive the system, he bends it. If you understand, comment below. My focus obeys no one. The weak fear isolation. The powerful seek it. Because solitude isn't emptiness, it's refinement. It's where noise dies, illusions fade, and truth sharpens like a blade. Most men drown in company. They need constant validation to feel alive. They talk endlessly, scroll endlessly, exist endlessly, and yet they never meet themselves. They mistake attention for connection and company for strength, but isolation strips all that away. It leaves you with nothing but your thoughts, your flaws, and your potential, and that's why it terrifies them. Machiavelli understood this long before modern men forgot it. The prince who cannot be alone cannot rule, because he will always crave approval, and a man who craves approval will betray his purpose to please the crowd. Solitude cures that disease. It silences the need to be understood. It replaces external validation with internal command. Isolation is where you stop reacting and start becoming. It's the training ground of dominance, the mental gym where focus hardens into clarity and clarity into control. While the distracted run in circles, the focused few retreat into silence and return sharper, calmer, more dangerous. That's the paradox of power. The more you withdraw, the more the world chases you. So, disappear. Not in defeat, but in discipline. Let them think you're quiet. Let them think you've vanished. And when you return, return with precision. Unrecognizable, unreadable, unbreakable. Isolation doesn't make you lonely. It makes you lethal. If you understand this truth, comment below. My silence builds power. Control begins where emotion ends. The man who cannot control himself will always be controlled by others. It's not strength to react. It's weakness disguised as passion. The world feeds on that weakness. It provokes, it tempts, it tests, waiting for you to lose composure. Because once you lose control, you lose the game. Machiavelli wrote that men must learn to be both lion and fox, fierce yet calculating. Emotion makes you the lion, strong but reckless. Control makes you the fox, silent, patient, untouchable. Master both, and no one can predict you. Lose either, and the world owns you. The powerful do not respond to noise. They study it. They don't argue. They observe. They don't shout. They strategize. Their silence terrifies because it cannot be manipulated. Every reaction you suppress adds a layer to your armor. Every emotion you command becomes a weapon. Control isn't suppression, it's direction. It's knowing when to strike and when to disappear. It's the art of turning chaos into calculation. While others bleed energy in emotional warfare, you conserve it and move only when precision demands it. That's what separates the ruler from the ruled. Remember this, true power never announces itself. It doesn't need validation, noise, or display. It lives in calm eyes, slow movements, and words chosen like blades. When you master that calm, you become unpredictable. And unpredictability is the purest form of control. So hold your fire, let them think you're still, because a man in control is not calm, he's calculating. And when he finally moves, it's already too late. If you understand this, comment below. My control commands respect. Power demands blood, not the kind that spills, the kind that burns quietly inside you. Every ounce of control, every layer of mastery is bought with isolation. You don't rise without losing something, and the higher you climb, the quieter it gets. Most men never understand this. They want the crown, but not the weight. They crave respect, but fear being alone. They love the image of power, but not the discipline that builds it. They want to be lions, but without the solitude of the hunt. The truth is cruel. Power strips you down to what's essential. It takes your comfort, your validation, your need to be understood, and it gives you something rarer, clarity. You stop chasing approval. You stop needing company. You stop explaining yourself to people who are still asleep. Machiavelli warned that to command others, a man must first learn to command himself, and that mastery requires distance. Distance from weakness, distance from distraction, distance from the illusion of belonging. Because belonging breeds compromise, and compromise kills kings. So yes, power isolates, but isolation isn't punishment. It's purification. It forges the mind into steel and the will into weaponry. It hardens your silence until it becomes language, and the world begins to feel your presence even when you say nothing. That's the price. To be untouchable, you must become unseen. To rule yourself, you must outgrow who you were. And to hold true power, you must accept being misunderstood by those who never will. Let them call you cold. Let them say you've changed, because the man you were cannot lead the man you are becoming. If you understand this truth, comment below. I embrace the loneliness of kings. There comes a moment when silence stops feeling like exile and starts feeling like command. When loneliness no longer burns, it refines. When the chaos of the world fades and all that remains is clarity. That is rebirth. You've been stripped of illusions, attachments, and the softness that once made you predictable. You've buried the man who needed validation. You've killed the version of yourself that feared being misunderstood. What rises in his place isn't emotional. It's elemental, calm, cold, complete. Machiavelli wrote that fortune favors those who shape it with their own hands. This is what he meant, to become the architect of your reality, unmoved by praise or insult, detached from approval or attack. You stop existing in reaction to others. You begin to move with intention, like a strategist in permanent control of his domain. This is not arrogance. This is evolution. The mind hardens. The will sharpens. The emotions obey. Your silence now carries weight. Your presence commands respect before a word is spoken. Because when you master yourself, you become a mirror, reflecting weakness in others, revealing truth without effort. This is the state few ever reach, the untouchable calm of inner rule. No noise can reach it. No manipulation can move it. You've become what the world cannot understand, a man who no longer needs anything from it. That is rebirth, the death of dependency, the birth of dominion. The quiet realization that peace and power are not opposites. They are the same thing, earned through mastery of the mind. If you feel this transformation beginning, comment below. I have been reborn in silence. Power isn't loud, it's silent. It doesn't chase, it attracts. It doesn't beg to be seen, it watches and waits. The untouchable mind is not born, it's built, layer by layer, decision by decision, sacrifice by sacrifice. It's the final form of self-mastery, where emotion no longer dictates and nothing external can disturb the inner order. This is what they fear most, a man who cannot be provoked, persuaded, or controlled. Because when they can't manipulate your mind, they lose their power over your life. Machiavelli taught that the greatest rulers were not those who conquered lands, but those who conquered themselves. That is the true empire. Not one made of gold or armies, but of thoughts disciplined and desires tamed. You no longer chase victory, you embody it. Every reaction is deliberate, every silence strategic, every step inevitable. They will call you distant, emotionless, dangerous, and they'll be right. Because danger is simply discipline misunderstood by the undisciplined. You are no longer moved by chaos, you use it. No longer distracted by noise, you command it. This is mental sovereignty, the crown no one can take. The untouchable mind is not about escaping the world, it's about mastering it from within. You see everything but remain unseen. You move less but achieve more. You've become what every system fears, a man who thinks for himself. Now remember this, the war was never out there, it was always here, in the mind, and you've won it. So walk with quiet authority, move with precision, rule yourself completely, and the world will follow. If this message awakened something inside you, comment below. My mind bows to no one. And if you found strength in this, like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. Welcome to the mind of Machiavelli.